So you want to do a few more?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we should
yeah.
do a couple more.
Yeah, a
Okay.
couple more will be fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
All
go
right.
for a couple more.
Okay. Here we go. Full screen or screen share. And whoops. Here we go.
Is this Doctor Who?
That was MacGyver.
Ooh, it's MacGyver too.
That's not Kurt Russell. This is the wrong one.
This is a knockoff version of it.
I never did like the Daniel Jackson.
Hmm.
It's the same
but I
one from the movie,
loved
right?
Amanda Tapping. Oh,
No.
she's my favorite. Carter.
Christopher Judge.
I like him.
Ew.
The General.
Dead.
Yeah.
For real, he's dead in real life.
Hmm.
No.
Ark.
Oh, that's right. This had a weird
That's it.
thing.
Oh.
There we go.
Hmm.
Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care.
It's
I'm
so
still
cruel of
free.
you to put these two shows against
Take
each
the
other.
sky from me.
This is like the real Western, sci-fi Western.
Choose black, tell 'em I
Like, who could top this?
burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the
Show that got
sky
canceled
from
and a show that
me.
kind of went on for a while.
Mhm.
There is no ending. That's the sad part.
Got a
Besides
movie
that-
at least.
Besides that,
There's no place I can be since I found serenity.
I always felt like,
You
God, what was his
can't
name?
take the
Rivers'
sky from me.
brother,
Simon.
Simon. Like, his look between the pilot and then the next episode are
Mhm.
so radically different from each other. Like, I can never tell if it's the same actor or not.
that's where they get you. It's a stunt double.
That's where they get ya.
So this one's interesting because Stargate's theme is so iconic. Like that song alone is so
it?
good. Yeah,
From the movie, right?
it's
Yeah.
the same. Yeah,
It
the-
is.
the-
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
both
a
the movie and the
little-
show.
It's a little jazzed up a bit.
Mhm.
It's not identical.
Mhm.
The one from the movie was more orchestral.
Yeah.
Whereas
'Cause
this
they have
one, I
that
think
budget.
it's a quicker tempo,
Mhm.
For the
Which
T
bit-
open, yeah.
yeah.
Shorter.
make it a little bit more energetic,
Mhm.
more adventurous.
And Firefly is interesting because it is a space western. So it's got that kind of a country music theme song to it,
Mhm.
which was good, but I wouldn't say it was amazing.
I agree.
But visually, I think all the visuals are very appealing in showing each character, each crew member, showing a little bit of action there, here and there. Everything visually was great for the show.
We got that with Stargate too.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
did.
showed each
Stargate.
member.
Yeah, they
Right.
both have the same thing
So
going
yeah,
on.
it's
a little
it's
bit
a
of action
very
here and there.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
They
show
both
each
got yeah.
character.
Yeah, they introduce each character. Yep. So it's very interesting.
You can't go. Yeah, you can't go by that anymore unless you have to go by details of it.
Mhm.
Because they're doing the same stuff for a TV, 90s TV show.
Stargate was 90s.
Yeah.
Firefly was early 2000s.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
If I didn't know either one and I hadn't seen either one,
Hmm.
I think I would be more inclined to watch Stargate.
Hmm.
Like, what's this ring? What's going on? It's like Ring of Water. What they're going through it. That's weird.
If you didn't watch the movie,
It's some kind of
That
portal.
too. Yeah.
because it kind of
Right.
played off from the movie.
It's a
in
sequel
way.
from the
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
is.
I've seen
Yeah.
all the Stargates.
Yep.
I've seen them all. I've seen all the Firefly, as little as there is.
As little as,
As much as there can
the
be.
show and the
Um,
movie. Yep.
But trying to come at it from a purely objective point of view, not taking the series into account,
Mhm.
not knowing what it's about.
Mhm.
I mean, you definitely each show opening does a great job of telling you what you're gonna watch.
Yeah.
You know, like it's pretty clear. Like in some of these openings that we've seen aren't that clear.
Hmm.
To do a good job there. The music, Stargate, is good. Feels iconic and epic.
It's like you want to get to the action.
The music in Firefly, not knowing what it is, will turn me off a little bit.
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy that.
Right.
But space and cowboys, which is odd. I mean, we've heard of space westerns, just never been so on the nose before.
Right.
So that's interesting. But the portal
Mhm.
and the weird aliens and that
There was
just
no
seems more
aliens in the
interesting to me.
intro.
I would have to say, like, just based on the subject, right?
Mhm.
Just only coming from the intro of both shows, the subject material, both would appeal to me. I'd be really interested in, watching the show.
Mhm.
But I think the premise or the promise that Stargate is showing would appeal to me more. And I think because of that, it's probably the better intro. But when it comes down to factors, I think it's got the edge over Firefly anyways, just because of the music.
Mhm.
I mean, everything else measures up. They're both pretty much neck and neck on all criteria. But when it comes to the music, Stargate tips it over the top.
Yeah. Jerry?
They're both equal in terms of everything. They
Mhm.
showcase what they wanted to show. You know what you're watching. What kind of adventure that they're going to get. All the characters that they're involved in.
Mhm.
For some reason, for me, I was pulling towards more Firefly. I don't know why.
Hmm. Interesting.
I just don't know why. It's just something about it just makes me pull to watch that show more.
Do you think it's because it's a little bit more modern in terms of when it was made?
Not really.
No?
Production quality, you think?
Maybe the way
theme?
it kind of, I guess that the way it looks, I guess it show like it's more stylized than Stargate, I guess, because I don't know the way it's kind of like going through the paces of the intro is kind of more what you call it. I get I don't know. It's like something like about it. It's like it's going through the intro, showing you the characters, and the action scenes and something about it. I don't know. It just kind of gave me a good vibe to watch that show.
Okay.
Stargate, it's kind of seems more action packed in a way. Like these guys are getting aliens up in their butts, and you don't know what's coming beyond the gates, and let's send expedition teams out or something.
The
But
unknown.
yeah, the unknown, and that is also interesting too. But yeah, it's they're both equals. It's just for some reason Firefly pulled at me more.
Okay. Eric? Eric? Eric?
It's checked out.
Eric, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, your thoughts.
Well, they both present the same, which is cool.
Mhm.
One is action, one's more adventurous. Well,
Mhm.
they're both adventurous, but more relaxed.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I like the action of the Stargate because that little Stargate. What's beyond that? It could be anywhere.
Yep.
It could go anywhere. You don't know what to expect. That's what brings people in, I guess. The mysterious of a Stargate, but beyond.
Mhm.
Compared to the other one, the Firefly, it's like pretty much you don't know what they're doing. Like who are they? Yeah, who are all these people? And they're just flying around, and you have a ship there. And it's like blah blah blah. I mean, you probably get interested in the adventure of what they're going through too.
Mhm.
I'm sure. But the problem is, like, it didn't do so well because the intro, I guess. Like, what is this show about, anyways? That's what I guess the show didn't do so. Ow! So
You okay there?
fine.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Any other closing thoughts before vote? Nope. All right, go ahead and vote.
I don't know. This is difficult.
Okay. Make a choice.
They're happy.
Okay, there we go. All right, and sorry, Jerry. Everyone voted Stargate.
It's fine.
All
Both good
right.
shows.
Yep.
They're
Well,
both good.
I think when it comes to first seasons, I think Firefly was a better show.
Yeah, I
First
mean,
season, sure.
it had to because it needed to show itself what kind of show it was to the Fox network because, or else, the budget for that
I
show
mean-
is going to go
I mean,
away.
it got canceled.
Stargate, I
that's-
guess, had an easier time doing that because I
Because of the
guess whatever
movie.
network they're on, well,
Yeah.
because they have to show up for the movie, but whatever network they're on, they could have done anything they want with it.
Right.
And
Well,
take it.
and a lot of the times, what doesn't come into people's minds is how much does it cost to make the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
if
budget
it's-
wise, yeah.
It could
Stargate was
be-
cheaper.
Yeah.
It could be a much more like financially successful show than the other, but still cost way more to make.
Yeah.
What about Atlantis? Is that different?
Atlantis? Oh, Stargate Atlantis?
Yeah.
Different from what?
Is it like totally different show? Different
Um,
characters?
I would say it's
Characters,
different.
yes.
It started so SG1 was way more episodic.
Mhm.
It was like Star Trek in a way where they can visit other planets and
Monster of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Towards the end, SG1 started to become a bit more serialized. I'd say right around season 6, 7, and 8,
Mhm.
when the Asgard started coming in. There was
Mhm.
there was overall story arcs started to come in. Atlantis, I think there was
From the
story
get go.
arcs
Yeah,
from the get-go.
lots. Yeah.
So in that way, it was very different from SG1.
And it was a cool concept too. Them going to a completely different galaxy, being completely cut off from Earth, no help or backup coming up. They were on their own in this.
it was
area.
more like a
It's-
survival actually in a way because
Yeah.
they're just kind of stuck there and they have to figure out what to do.
And their
It
whole
is.
goal in the first season was trying to find more power sources to power Atlantis, and that that alone was pretty
Oh.
interesting.
So it was
Oh,
a
wow.
totally different show in a way, but
And
same.
also pulled away from the campy approach
Mhm.
as well. Like SG1 was very campy. It was very tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Whereas Atlantis, I think there were definitely, it was touch and go, but there's definitely the beginning of starting to pull away from that and taking itself a little bit more seriously. And then SGU, which in my opinion was the best of the bunch.
Whoa.
Unfortunately,
Hot take.
it was yeah, right. Unfortunately, it was cut way too short.
Yeah.
But to me, that was dark. It was gritty. It was definitely survival.
Yeah.
Like each episode was named after, something you need to survive.
Yeah.
Air, water.
Yeah, I
you
remember
know,
that. Yeah.
Just so cool to me. So cool.
I guess people didn't like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I guess it wasn't pulling in enough viewers or something. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
A lot
Anyway.
of people liked the campiness of SG1.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I actually read an article about why it didn't
Mhm.
work so well. And
Only 2 seasons. Wow.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next set of shows.
All right.
Will they ever wake? We'll never know.
All right, here we go.
I really think you should have gone with Coven. Or not Coven, sorry. Was it Coven?
I hate that noise so much.
That was Coven.
That's the very first one, right?
Yep, that's the first season.
Okay.
And that was Murder House. I think. Okay. Someone doesn't like their picture. So it's Hill Manor.
Yeah.
The Haunting
Or Hill
of
House.
Hill House.
Which network did this came out of?
Netflix.
Netflix. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I
Bly Manor
put
was the
these.
next one.
Yeah, Bly Manor was the second one.
Which I never watched. I heard it was.
It was
worse.
good.
It wasn't. It wasn't
I mean, it
as
wasn't
good.
bad. It wasn't as good as
Hill House.
Hill House, but
Yeah.
yeah. And so yeah, I put these two together because these are the two most prominent horror TV
Mhm.
shows currently right now. And I gotta say, I remember watching American Horror Story when I was living in California with my roommate. That was like what 2011, I think that was.
Holy shit.
And
Really?
we saw the advertisements for it on TV. We were like, "What the fuck is this? Let's try it out." And so we watched that first episode where you see the two kids go into the haunted house and then they get killed, and then that plays. We both just like as soon as it like ended, we both just looked at each other like, "What the fuck was that?" Like that was so jarring and weird,
Wow.
and we were like, "What are we getting ourselves into here?" And in juxtaposition with Hill House, the interesting thing about that intro, I want to say, is that what conveys for Haunting of Hill House is music-wise and visually, it's telling you that it's telling a haunting story compared to American Horror Story, where it's like kind of immediately showing you the horror right off the bat with the strangeness, the loud music, the jumbling of images and stuff. It's very interesting. What are you guys' thoughts?
I didn't like the font work on American Horror Story.
Really?
It looks, yeah, the font of the text looks really, I don't know, I didn't like it.
Mhm.
It didn't look as scary I thought it would be, you know.
Mm.
I would think they would probably use a better font for a more creepy factor, but
Mhm.
but I do dig the way it kind of portrays how, you know, all these creeping bumps in the night and all these terrifying images, like you're an actual haunted house.
Mhm.
Haunted on Hill House though, it's kind of doing that thing where they're trying to, you know, go through like a, you know, orchestrative music, going through all these statues and like it's trying to tell a history of something, of like a house it's trying to like what happened. And when it's trying to pull out of the maze of the house is kind of cool. And I'm in my head like trying to look at like are these pawns of something? Are these things moving around on a board or like
That maze
it's
it shows.
yeah like what's going on then? And it sets a tone. It like gets you in the mood of it when you're watching it. I mean it doesn't show like it's scary, I guess. It's just like I don't know, it's like the American Horror Story feels like it's kind of really trying to scare you. If you were going to go for the horror theme. So right off the bat, you know that, oh shit, this is going to be fucking scary. But the Haunted Hill House, it looks like it's trying to tell a story of like the history of this house or something, I guess. But that's what I've got.
You want to say something, Nate?
Well, I'm just waiting to hear what Eric says.
Oh, Eric, what do you got?
Fine. Saw the first one, American Horror Story. I didn't like it.
Okay.
The
saw the
audio,
show?
I don't like
What do you
it.
mean? Oh, you just mean the.
Yeah, not talking about the shows. I'm
Oh,
talking
okay,
about the
okay.
openings.
Okay.
I don't like the audio, of course, but I like the visuals, how it's portraying all these other stories in that intro of each scene, which is really good because it's called American Horror Stories. So I can tell you a story. That's pretty much I got out of that. For the what's the other one?
Haunting
House
of
Hill?
House.
Exactly.
Haunting of Hill House.
Okay. I mean, it looks really nice. The visuals looks better than that. Better in this one to me. Audio is pretty nice too, looking nice in this one too. It does well. It's not like disturbing, scary, or like uncomfortable like American Horror Story. The OP gives, but this one's just like this is going to be like an opera or something happening here, like a dance in this one. That's what I think. That doesn't look like it's going to be scary, but it's supposed to be scary, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like it's not trying to scare you. It is trying to tell a story with scares in it, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Nate?
So, Haunting of Hill House. Looking at the imagery, what appears to be beautiful statues at first, cracking, and to me that reflects the picturesque exterior of the family. And then as the cracking of the statues start expanding and spreading, you start seeing the faces on the statues being of like anguish and pain and maybe terror. But as a whole, I think that the opening of Haunting of Hill House did not accurately reflect what the show is about. I think not knowing what the show's about, not having ever seen it, you look at it and be like, well, something's not as it appears. It's going to look nice at first, and then we're going to see cracks. That's all we can get, which is true to a degree. I think the music was completely off.
Really, for Hill House?
Yeah. I don't think that, it was orchestral. It was beautiful. It was operatic. I heard you guys saying. That's not what that show is. I think the tone was total like miss. I think it should have been more haunting, more somber, and it's just I didn't get that at all from the music. American Horror Story did exactly what it's supposed to do. I heard you both say I didn't like it. I felt uncomfortable. Um, that's exactly what the opening was trying to do. It was trying to make you feel unnerved, uncomfortable, and hesitant and horrified, because that's exactly what the show is. In terms of, did it do a job letting you know exactly what kind of show you're about to watch? 100% yes. Was it intriguing? 100% yes. The visuals and the visuals, yes, they draw you in. They, the curiosity is aroused, and again, because it's quick throughout the course of the season, you start picking up on things that you missed. So there's an entertainment value that starts to enrapture you. So it's got the longevity and the endurance that Haunting of Hill House does not have.
Yeah, everything in American Horror Story is a clue to the show. Like all the images are a clue for that season, because every season was different. If you heard Nate, he said, "Oh, you should have went with the third season." It's like, I will say, every season's opening is different. Every single one is giving you clues to what's coming, and as you watch the show, and then when you immediately watch the opening, you'll see it. You'll make a connection to one of the visuals. You'll be like, "Oh shit, that's what that's referencing." Okay.
Because I watched the side story, so it's like, oh, it's just an intro.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch any American Horror Stories, so so I don't know what to expect on those intros.
I had to stop.
Right. It's pretty fucking dark.
I binged watched Asylum in one entire night.
Oh really? Oh dude,
and I had nightmares.
Oh, that's gotta fuck with you. Asylum is is worse than this season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I felt like Murder House was kind of tame in comparison to the others.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Coven was also kind of tame in the modern. But in the past, when it starts going into the past, showing what happened, the horror there, that was pretty horrible.
Yeah.
But Asylum, man, fuck. If you're not if you had to binge watch one entire season in one sitting, do not do that one, man. Like I had fucking nightmares, and I do not normally get nightmares from TV shows, but that one, man, whoo, I was
man.
I can never get through Hotel. I have tried like 4 times to get through it, and it just, for some reason, it's so boring to me.
Interesting. Okay.
Even though it's somewhat based off of the I think it's based off of the CC, right?
Yes. Yeah. The Cecil.
Hotel? Cecil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting.
My personal favorite of American Horror Story, again, this is just personally, Roanoke was my favorite season.
Never did watch it.
You never watched Roanoke? I thought it was so
stopped
cool.
after Hotel.
Oh, right. The reason why I like Roanoke is because it's actually 3 separate stories that all connect together. The first part of it is about the Roanoke colony. And then the second part of it is the TV show that's going to investigate, what happened to Roanoke, let's talk about the history and stuff. And then ghosts and shit starts coming in and whatnot. It gets pretty crazy. But yeah, Roanoke, I think.
What was the third part?
I'm trying to remember what the third part was. Oh, it was the aftermath of the TV show, like the survivors. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But anyway, any other final thoughts? We're straight to voting.
I just think American Horror Story nailed it, man. I think it told you exactly what kind of show you're getting into, and you both admitted to feeling the way that you're supposed to feel.
Yeah. Disturbing.
That music is so interesting too, because when you listen to it, it's that constant on a loop that and then it sounds like they're murdering a violin. Yeah.
I hate the intro.
To make you feel uncomfortable.
Yep.
Even the stories has it too. Ugh,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
like I don't like
But
it anymore.
I totally feel like Haunting of Hill House like completely missed the mark.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like totally
sure, it was
different.
pretty, you know, like
Mhm.
it was interesting, but I
Yeah.
just think they could have done a much better job.
It
Yeah.
just
of
looked
telling
like
you
Black
what-
Sails or Vikings intro. Same thing.
Yeah. All right. Give me your votes.
Uh,
Wow. Okay. So it goes to American Horror Story with Eric saying Hill House.
I don't like the intro on the other one. I hate it.
You're supposed to though.
I know, but I hate it. It just annoys me so much.
Right. All right. Here we go. Next set.
And then if you want to do this next set,
Uh-huh.
Man in High Castle and Expanse, and then jump to the Warrior and into the Badlands,
Mhm.
they were pretty much up to speed on everything. Like no more jumping around.
Okay. Yep.
And
Yep.
so if you wanted to call it after that,
After this
I
next
mean-
set,
no, the next set,
and then the next set.
and then the next set.
2 more?
Okay.
Yeah, so
Alright.
after Into the Badlands.
Okay.
And Warrior.
Sounds good.
Make
All
it
right.
quick then.
Yeah. We'll try.
And
All right.
Which one's this one?
Damn it. There we go.
Warrior. No, man.
America. Wait, Nazis?
Mhm.
Japan?
Mhm.
This is a song from Sound of Music.
Mhm.
Oh, High Castle. That's from a book, right?
Yep. It's a book.
Okay. That's like an altered reality thing. Hey, Expanse!
So.
Ugh,
Hmm.
thanks a lot, Adrian.
So this one was hard to pair against each other because I was trying to think of looking at Amazon's TV shows because they're both Amazon produced. I was trying to think of like two sci-fis, and it was like, okay, we got Man in the High Castle, which is a sci-fi by definition. Yeah, by
Really?
definition,
Doesn't
because it's
look like
alternate.
sci-fi.
It's alternate reality.
Okay.
Not reality. Alternate timeline. Alternate timeline.
I mean, it is alternate reality in a sense
I mean,
too.
technically.
Yeah.
Have you
Um,
watched it before, Eric?
What?
Man in High Castle, have you seen it?
Nope.
I heard
never
it
heard of
gets.
it.
I heard it gets
never
even
heard-
weirder.
I never
in
heard
the
it on
later
Amazon
seasons.
before. I only
Yeah.
heard about the book. That's it.
Yeah.
I watched a couple episodes. I did not like it.
Really?
Yeah, it was just boring to me.
I stuck through the first season and it was pretty good. And then my brother said he watched the other ones and he says it gets fucking weird later on. I was like, okay.
Oh.
Like he says,
Oh.
because the one thing that you see in the show, I mean, obviously from the beginning, it's basically the Axis powers won World War II. They invaded America, and the United States is divided in half, where the Japanese control the western side and the Nazis control the eastern side.
And Central
And
looks like on the map.
the central they actually show is a kind of a neutral land between the Nazis and the Japanese. And in the show, somebody who's calling himself the Man in the High Castle starts putting out these videotapes showing an alternate reality, universe, whatever you want to call it, that the Americans actually won the war. And so that is kind of inspiring a resistance to kind of come up to fight the Axis powers. But also there's other interesting things going on with it as well, to where the Japanese and the Nazis are actually in a very uneasy alliance, to where they find out Hitler has Parkinson's disease and might die very soon, and there's lots of talks and conspiracies going along, basically saying that as soon as Hitler dies, World War III is going to happen. It's a very, very interesting and unique concept. I will agree, like the first few episodes are very slow in that aspect, but
Aren't we also seeing like
Hmm?
the alternate reality, like our reality happening? Like
That's-
it
that's
flips
the-
back and forth.
that's what he's showing in the videotapes. He's showing our reality.
Oh.
And that's where it gets even weirder later on in the other seasons.
Huh.
But anyway, it's a pretty good show. It's slow, but from
Hey,
what I've
Nate
heard,
hates
at
it.
least, yeah.
Everyone hates it.
Right? But
Well, and
I-
no need to explain the Expanse. We've all seen
yeah, we've all seen that. Yeah,
Jerry didn't see it.
Jerry, you didn't see it?
that. Oh,
Oh
so good.
man, it's good.
So good. Well, until they start making it more science
Worse.
fiction rather than science based.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, season 4
I kind of got
is
put
a
off
let-
by season 4.
Season
Yeah.
4 sucks.
Yeah.
It's like at season 3, woo, and season 4. What? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. At least, okay, hold on. To be fair, I've actually only seen the first season. I haven't had time. I want to get to the later seasons eventually.
hmm
But for Jerry's sake, at least from what I've seen from the first season, the story is that
Crime noir.
what?
It's like a crime noir. in
Yeah,
space.
it's like in part. Like
yeah, at first it's the detective
first.
from that guy. Yeah.
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 Basically, the solar system is colonized. You got humanity on Mars, and you got humanity in the asteroid belt, where they've actually built cities and space stations there. And then, of course, you got Earth. And I'm trying to remember, did they say that Mars and Earth went to war already before?
There is no.
There was
war.
friction.
Yeah.
There's friction between the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Earth and there's 3 factions: Earth, Mars, and the Belters.
And the Belters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Belters are the ones that grew up on the asteroid belts.
And they're
Yeah.
always angry
Yeah.
every time.
Well, it's
And-
hard. It's the frontier,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I know. Yeah, yeah.
right?
They're always angry at the 2 factions.
And
They
so
hate them.
basically, one of the Belters is a detective who's sent to find a missing girl, who you find out is the daughter of like one of the higher ups of Earth or something. Is that right? It's been so long since I've seen it. It's something like
I
that.
I
believe-
can't remember.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a Earth hierarchy, whatever, of a daughter.
And you do see that there's somebody is trying to start a war between Mars and Earth. Like there's a huge conspiracy going around, and
What's really cool about the show, and the only thing that kept me like fixed with it, is the show has got a reputation, or earned a reputation, for how close to accurate it portrays its physics in the show.
hmm
They
space,
actually
yeah.
they brought on a lot of experts, physicists and whatnot,
Mhm.
Like they always had them on hand, when it came to, depicting how things would work in space. How would you propel through space? How would you live in space? Like what would happen to the human body if you were born and raised in a low gravity environment,
Mhm.
kind of thing, and what would happen if you know, took that same body and put it on a planet where the gravity is much more. So the physics of it, it's almost like watching a documentary on how space works, but with the story. Like that's all like nuanced stuff. It's in the background. They're not like, coming out and tell you how it works. You just get to see how it works.
Yeah.
It was really fascinating in that regard.
Yeah.
I thought the story was kind of weak.
Mhm.
The crime, the whole
Mhm.
murder mystery thing, I thought, or kidnapping mystery, I
Yeah,
thought that was kind of weak.
it got better in season 2 at least. It
Yeah,
picks up.
season two,
It
season
picks
two
it
and
up
three are the
well.
best.
Yeah,
Mhm.
2
You
and
actually get
3
to
is the
see
best for me. Yeah,
you get to see spaghettification,
you actually see an expanse. Look at that in
which is
season
very
3.
cool. Do you know what I mean by that, Jerry? Spaghettification.
Like
It's when the body not disintegrates, but basically
Turn
like
noodle.
you turn into noodles. Yeah,
your body.
effectively. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's from going at such a. It's like it's what would happen. Actually, it's kind of what would happen if you were to like go into like a black hole. That's another way that spaghettification would happen. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the it's the result of an object moving at such a high velocity, um, and then stopped. And what would happen to your body?
Impact, right?
It just basically like you wouldn't snap in half like if you're held back, or you wouldn't be like severed, but whatever, you were just your entire body just like almost
You
like
get crushed, right?
the forward motion. Just you gotta watch it because it is such a cool scene. It's so cool. It's
It's like,
gruesome, but that's what I mean though. Like the show is so fascinating and like showing you how all of these things would work.
oh yeah, like
It's worth it.
what was that one season where that guy was experimenting hyperspeed? What season was that?
Right, when he developed the power source. So
Yeah, yeah.
the way that transportation works in the expanse is so first off, if you so there's a difference between velocity and acceleration. If you speed up to 60 miles an hour and then hold your speed at 60 miles an hour, you've stopped accelerating, but you still have velocity, right? When you are accelerating at 60 miles an hour, you kind of feel that G-force, right? Like if you just kind of floor it, you go from 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds, you
Mhm.
can feel that G-force. That's how the ships simulate gravity. They continuously accelerate to their destination, and then at the halfway point, they turn the engines off, flip 180 degrees, and then turn the engines back on so that you're continuously getting that gravity, but it slows the ship down. So, anyways, the problem with that is fuel consumption. How do you get from one place to another when the engine is constantly on? And they explain that the history of how they go from, because like there's you just nowhere near enough fuel to get anywhere. But one guy, he manages to create almost a near perfect fuel efficiency. So he's kind of experimenting, and he ends up like inventing this engine. But that whole story is tragic.
It's so sad.
It is so sad.
And it's great at
Terrifying.
first, but then it's like, oh no.
Yeah, you're at first it's like, yeah, he did it. Yes, awesome. And then it's like, oh no. No, very good.
He went
Such
too
a good- yeah.
far.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire
Yeah.
show.
That was a really good scene how it became.
Yeah,
Or
and you don't
became.
really, you don't learn how they got this technology until they tell that story, which I think is like in season
3 or 2, right?
3. Yeah, it's 2 or 3.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's the early season 3, I think, maybe.
yeah. It's the guy that invented the fuel efficiency.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so that's explaining Jerry Expanse.
Expanse. It is a
Sure.
journey. It is
terms
a
of
journey.
in terms of
Sure.
the opening.
Yeah, I mean, opening. So for me, both terms of intro only,
Mhm.
without the backstory of what the shows are about, they both look so interesting.
Mhm.
The Man in the High Tower,
Castle.
castle, knowing that there's an like Japan and Nazis took over US.
Mhm.
That's an interesting take on an alternate history.
Mhm.
And what you're like, it's only showing you like kind of like the imagery of like the US being fallen, Nazis, what you call it, like propaganda and stuff. It's like they're, that the US has like lost everything. Their
Mhm.
city's been destroyed and all whatnot. But it's like in my back of my mind, I'm trying to think what are ideas, like what is it like in the US right now. And like there's like all kinds of ideas like what would the show would be like. Which, I mean, the show doesn't tell you what it is going to be like. It's just telling you what the premise would be, with all the imagery and stuff like that. It's like Nazis in Japan, like they both combined and took over US. So that was pretty interesting. Like Expanse, it caught me immediately, the visually, like what the show is. Like it's showing you like how they're colonizing Mars and them expanding out
Mhm.
to space, and how humanity is kind of like taking over all these resources and stuff. And the way it's showing you that is really cool, like kind of like, in forward speed, I guess, fast motion.
Mhm.
Things are building up over time. Visually it looks really nice. I was really interested what was going on and wanted to know what's gonna happen in that show.
Mhm.
So both intros are both equal in terms of like interesting, like how it caught me. Like I want to be interested in watching, what the show is,
Mhm.
without knowing, the back.
Everything we told you.
Yeah, basically everything you told me about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
even though like how the High Castle got the show is kind of boring.
Mhm.
I didn't get that, but I mean, yeah, once you watch it, then yeah, you get that. It's like, okay, then I don't want to watch the show anymore at that point. But intro wise, it looks appealing to
Mhm.
me.
What's really interesting to me is the themes in the opening of the Man in High Castle.
Mhm.
Like, we have this dark and kind of dystopian like idea and thought about what if, right?
Mhm.
Obviously you see a map with Nazi Germany on one side and Japan on the other. Like, what the fuck kind of world is this, right? So it's just the whole thing is just like bad juju, right?
Mhm.
Everything looks dystopian and scary and horrible. But on top of all of it is this haunting rendition of Edelweiss, which Edelweiss, let me make sure I'm going to fact check, but I know Edelweiss, by the way, is a flower.
Yes.
I'm
I think
trying
it
to think
grows
it's
in
like the
Austria.
national flower, right?
I think it's
like,
Austria that it grows, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
I
Maybe it's the national flower of Germany too. I don't know. But it was sung in Sound of Music by Christopher Plummer.
right. So, and that's the same. There's this thing that sometimes movies do, especially when it comes to like Nazi Germany.
Mhm.
and like countering the horrible imagery up against something that's beautiful
Mhm.
and pure and innocent, right? And I think it's probably symbolic of this looming like horror over something so pure and innocent, the destruction of that. And but it still holds on and there's hope, right? And I think that's what the song Edelweiss um is about.
Mhm.
There we go. Edelweiss. So Edelweiss, Edelweiss, every morning you greet me, small and white, clean and bright. You look happy to meet me. Blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow forever. It's
Mhm.
hope,
Mhm.
right? So knowing that the Edelweiss is hope, okay, so like life is beautiful. That's another one, right? Life is beautiful, sound of music, and then now this. It's the same thing that's being done, is taking this looming darkness and having it suppress something that's so clean and beautiful and bright
Mhm.
and hope. But it's haunting,
Mhm.
right? So, and I think because of that, I mean, to me, that tells me everything I need to know about the show.
Mhm.
It's dystopian, it's dark, but there's something so fragile,
Mhm.
but there, and it's hope,
Yeah.
right? So when it comes to The Expanse, show about, so not necessarily expanding
Mhm.
or it's just about the expanse of space,
Mhm.
right? In general, and we see mankind expanding and going out into space, like the evolution or the journey into space. Beyond that, cool effects like the flash forward like motion that Jerry mentioned, very cool.
Hmm.
Music was kind of forgettable. Forgettable.
A little bit.
But
At least don't die.
thanks, COVID. Um, honestly, I don't think it did a very good job of explaining what the show is.
Mm,
But that's just because I know what the show is. Like
right. Yeah.
based on what Jerry said, I totally agree 100% with what he said. That's exactly how I would interpret what the show is about.
Mhm.
Problem is, it's not. So, does it do a good job of setting the mood? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Does the opening scene or this opening credits, does it do a good job of setting the mood, letting you know this is what you're getting into?
Mhm.
Buckle up, here we go.
Mhm.
I don't think it does. I think
Mhm.
that even though I think it's a better show for
Mhm.
sure, but I think Man in High Castle definitely sets the tone
Yeah.
for what you're about to watch.
Mhm. Eric, did you have any?
Not really. They already said all the points I need. But for
Yeah.
the High Castle, it's like
Mhm.
a what if situation type of thing for me.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, this gonna happen. This takeover. It's like, what will happen,
Mhm.
and
The
all that
old
stuff for
question.
the what?
The age-old question.
Yeah,
Mhm.
What
like
if
the
they won?
Marvels what if, but that's not really what if though. Sometimes.
Mhm.
But that's something that, fiction is explored, right?
Mhm.
hmm Yeah,
Many times.
like if this could
What if
happen,
the
yeah.
Nazis won? They almost did.
Mhm.
If US didn't intervene, they would have won, and
Yeah.
Russia didn't like send everyone to protect their motherland.
What's interesting for the show that they explain as to why the Axis powers won was the atomic bomb. They showed that I don't think they show. They talk about that the Nazis won the race in building the atomic bomb first,
Then
which
America.
and then they bombed Washington D.C. and then
Oh.
they invaded. They first
Oh.
bombed, and then they did a joint invasion with Japan, showing that's how they were able to get it. And it's actually very interesting. There's a lot of untold stories about World War II that you don't know about. How close Nazi Germany was actually to building the atomic bomb first. They were very close, but some awesome Norwegian heroes in Norway were able to falter their progress by bombing their facility. That's the real history about it. If that didn't happen, they would have gotten the bomb first.
Yeah, they failed the mission too.
But
Yeah.
Mhm,
I also think if they had gotten the bomb first,
mhm.
I don't think that they would have invaded the US.
Hmm.
I think they would have completely taken over Europe.
Mhm.
And I think that the US would have, in some way, come to terms with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
Because
it's
there's
interesting.
a lot
Yeah.
there's a lot of under the blankets, under the surface
Mhm.
shit that was happening in the US in terms of Nazi Germany as well,
Yeah.
which is why it took us so long
Mhm.
Yeah.
to get over there.
Yeah.
Because the Germany
But-
was like already at the beach.
But it
Waiting
was
for them.
Japan that
Mhm.
made us enter.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think US wouldn't intervene if Japan didn't attack.
Yeah.
So I think what would have happened is Nazi Germany would have taken over all of Europe.
Mhm.
Russia would still be Russia.
Mhm.
Japan
Yeah.
would have attacked the US in the way that it did.
Mhm.
The US would have then gotten its retribution in Japan shortly after Germany would have nuked Europe.
Yeah.
Or nuked Europe. So Germany would have nuked Europe, we nuked Japan, and then we would have come to terms with Nazi Europe
Mhm.
and Russia.
Yeah.
I think that's how it would have ended up.
That's his alternate history.
Yeah.
No, that's a new TV show there.
Yeah.
Did they attack China at all?
In the show?
No.
In
In World War
what?
II.
Yeah.
Nazis.
Japan took over China during the war.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were allies with them, right?
With China? Yeah.
Just like we were allies with Russia.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's funny too. Russia was allied with Nazi Germany at first during the war.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then it was somewhere, I can't remember where, but then they turned. They turned. Anyway,
Yeah,
we're
they turned
getting
around,
we're
yeah.
getting way too sidetracked here. What is the better opening? Give me your votes.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, hold on. I need to count this. So
There's only 4 of us here.
right, I'm using Anna's. I'm using Anna's. No, I got Anna's vote. Remember? Right.
1,
Okay.
2,
5. Oh shit! Let me go back. 1.
I'm tired. So, with the tiebreaker, it goes to Man in the High Castle. Both
Really?
Jerry and Eric voted for The Expanse.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Anna likes High Castle?
Expanse is a
Mhm.
better show,
Mm-hmm.
Expanse is better.
but I think Man in High Castle
This
is
is-
a better opening.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah. Yeah. It looked very, very like, wow, this is what
Yeah.
happens.
Okay, last set.
Last
Last set. Here. Oops. Here we go.
I've never seen a show before.
Now this is good. And it's loud, Adrian. This is really good. This is another good one. Wow.
Mhm.
Was this show based on a comic book?
Maybe.
I think so.
Graphic novel?
I think so.
Definitely feels like it's paying homage to that. Nick Frost was in this?
Yep. I think it is from a comic. This one.
I'm not sure. I mean, huh. So, who's seen Warrior?
Is
I have
it
a
the
question about that.
one? Yeah.
I'm trying to watch it, but I can't get it.
What? It's on HBO
Is it-
Max.
I know, I can't get it.
Does it have supernatural stuff in it? I
No,
forgot.
not at all.
No.
Okay, that's the other show then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never mind. Never
Is
mind.
that based in like 19
early
early
San Francisco?
1900s San
yeah.
Francisco,
Yes,
Chinatown?
yes, it's early 19 or 1880s San
Okay.
Francisco, and it is based on a TV show idea that Bruce Lee had that he was trying to get pitched for the
Oh.
longest time, but kept getting denied. And finally, after his death, I think it's Shannon Lee. Is that? I think that's his,
His daughter. His
yeah,
daughter.
she was able to get the show. She pitched the show, and they finally greenlit the show, and we got it.
Ooh, is
Mhm.
Brandon Lee in
Finally.
it? Oh.
No. But it's basically a western.
Come on, guys, give him a shot.
Right.
Oh.
But it's basically a western of a Chinese immigrant that comes to San Francisco, and he gets caught up in the whole gang wars of Chinatown with the police and et cetera, et cetera. It's a very action-packed show. It's straight up a martial arts show.
It's
Yeah.
That
Is it pretty much Ip Man 4?
I hated the music.
kind of really.
Yeah,
You hate
it
it?
sounded like it was trying to be a rock western music, but using a mandolin to do it.
Hmm. Okay,
And
Kind of. Yeah.
I just did not like it.
interesting.
It's like, pick one, guys. Pick one. I mean, I'm okay with fusion. I don't mind it, but
Yeah.
it was too much. Too much going on with it.
Is it like Firefly then? Like that?
No, Firefly was just a bad western song.
Yeah. um,
I
so
mean,
it's kind
yeah.
of, I would kind of say, in a way, it's a more serious version of Shanghai Noon.
Really? Those
Yeah,
two?
in a way, because
Jackie
it
Chan and
is,
Owen
it is.
Wilson?
They're both Chinese.
One's British
immigrants.
or white, and one's Chinese.
Yeah.
Chinese.
And they're both martial arts in the Wild West, essentially.
Hmm.
Yeah. But one's definitely more violent and gory than the other.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got Into the Badlands. Who's seen Into the Badlands?
I
I
I
haven't.
think
First
I watched the
season.
first season.
First season.
I didn't watch it.
It gets better in the second season because, as you saw, with Nick Frost comes in and he is hilarious, and he adds a whole new element to the show that makes it way more enjoyable.
Not Simon Pegg. He's not with Simon Pegg in this one.
No.
They're always together.
That's the thing, though. Like, looking at the opening credits,
Hmm.
the only thing I got from that was this based on a comic book?
Yeah. Right.
And it looks like it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I heard.
Um,
That's all.
But that's it. I didn't get anything else.
Mhm.
It wasn't very. I mean, it was like obviously martial arts,
Mhm.
fantasy. But
I think it's for people who read the comics. Well, knowing who got into it already and knows what to expect in this show. Maybe
Mhm.
for
I
people who
didn't-
doesn't know, it's like, what is this?
I didn't think it was a very good opening.
Mhm.
It didn't show much. That's the thing.
Yeah,
no one
it
showed this
didn't tell
martial
me
arts, and
anything.
that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Compared to the Warrior,
is
it
funny.
showed a lot.
because that's the show that I've seen,
Right.
and I've not seen the Warrior, and I was able to pick up a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
You
knew
see
it was
the
gonna be- it
history.
was- Yep,
and everything.
it was like early San Francisco.
Mhm.
Early
Like-
90s, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
and Western.
Mhm.
I don't know why the Western though. That's kind of weird.
It makes
It's the
sense in the
music.
show. It's
Okay.
the time.
No, it's the
frame.
Wild West. It's
Yeah,
frontier.
it's the Wild West. Yeah.
like this is the time I'm guessing where people got shanghaied.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
during a time when probably a lot of Chinese are like working on the railroad,
Hmm.
and so there's got to be a lot of oppression.
Yep. It's a huge
Yep.
immigration shift of Chinese coming to America for work. And
Yeah.
Never
That's what
seen the
it
show,
meant
but I picked
for.
up
Yeah.
on all of that
Hmm.
from the opening,
Yep.
which is why I think it's the better one.
Hmm. And you can even see in the titles there, like you see a poster saying like no Chinese. So like it very much tells you, hey, this is going to touch on the racist aspect of that time era.
Hmm.
Yeah. Of like they don't want those
They don't want to live
immigrants.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I think I know what everybody's saying. Oh yeah, go ahead and cast your votes. I think everyone knows what the winner is going to be. Bruce Lee. Yep, unanimous on this one. It goes to Warrior.
It showed a lot. That's the
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
And I also vote for the Warrior.
Yeah, she voted for Warrior as well.
That's
And
like,
she actually
"Ooh."
liked the music, so that's interesting.
I
This
mean,
was
it's
upbeat.
okay.
It got me into the mood of watching it. It was pretty
Yeah,
action-packed, so
I personally love the music for it. I think
Mhm.
we watched the intro because it pumps us up for like, well, yeah, we're getting into that martial arts goodness. Let's go.
What is that
Yeah.
show on?
HBO Max.
No
Not
shit.
stars.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh.
It was
No shit.
Cinemax, but HBO
Cinemax,
owns
that's right, yeah.
Cinemax. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
because after what? How many seasons were there?
there's only
Oh,
two
it's-
with a third supposedly in the works.
Okay,
I
so
can-
yeah, they did shift after season 1. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I read from.
Yeah.
So you were just saying it shifted over from Cinemax to HBO Max.
Yeah.
Mhm.
After
Or
season 1.
it's all on HBO Max because you can HBO Max owns Cinemax, so
Yeah.
they
They
put
mo-
all
they
their
moved it.
Yeah, they put all their Cinemax shows on there. I
Which
believe
is why
there
it's
might
called
be some.
HBO Max. I was
Mhm.
always wondering about the similarity there. I was thinking,
Yeah.
Right.
seems
That's like, what
really
is the
weird.
max?
It's very close to that.
it's like plus.
It could
All
be
right.
off.
I will put a stop in the recording right here, and we'll pick this up another time.